everyone, Jen Roque here at stampcampwithjen.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Summerfield, Florida, and today I have two different ways to use background stamps. So I hope that you'll enjoy these techniques and that you'll go in your craft room and try them out for yourself. So I got background stamps. I have a few and I always think they're really fun and different, but they're so big you wonder, what are you supposed to do with these things? So I challenged myself to come up with a couple different ways to share with you so that you can go in your craft room and try them out for yourself. So the one on the left here uses the dry brush background stamp. I got this back in October, November of last year when Stampin' Up! Usually does their big like fall clearance event. They'll have certain stamp sets usually for like 15% off, and that was one of them. So if you look in your annual catalog, the 2020 to 2021 annual catalog on page 138, you have all of the background stamps that they have available on this page. So the dry brush one that I have is the cling one, and it's $17. I also have this buffalo check one, and I'm actually going to be doing a Facebook Live presentation on Monday with 2 cards using this buffalo check. That's not Christmas. I know we all think, at least I do, when I see buffalo check, I think Christmas, buffalo plaid, the red and black or green and black. I really like that, but I actually have a spring version that I'm going to share with you on Monday. So if you haven't already, head over to my Facebook page. If you just search Stamp Camp with Jen, you'll find me there, and hit the like and follow buttons and make sure that you sign up for notifications. I'll be live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll show you those cards. So that's going to be a fun thing too. So again, today we're using the dry brush, and then we're also going to use the one on the right is the new Wild Roses. Isn't that gorgeous? I saw this when the mini catalog came out and I instantly fell in love with it. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, but I just thought it was so gorgeous. I purchased it right away during our demonstrator pre-order, and that one, is on page 30. Of your January through June 2021 mini catalog. And they have a couple examples, like this is the Joseph's coat technique, where you use clear embossing powder and then you swipe over it with black ink, and that clear embossing powder shows the color that you put on the paper beforehand. I've done a Joseph's coat technique before. You can search my blog for it if you want to learn how to do it. And then this example, it looks like they just did tone on tone coloring on a piece of paper, and then behind it are the square vellum doilies that they just colored. So that's really pretty too. But I actually found a technique. The technique that we're going to do from this card is from Jennifer McGuire. It's pretty neat and pretty easy, actually. It's not complicated at all, but all right, so let's get started. So let's do this dry brush one first. We're going to put my samples out of the way for right now. And then for these cards, we're using the basic white card base, and that's just 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to fold it in half and burnish with our bone folder. Okay, and we can kind of set this to the side. And then I have a panel. This is cut at 4 by 5.25 inches, okay? And what we're gonna do for the first one, for the dry brush, is we're just gonna take our stamp set out, and it is a foam stamp set, okay? You can see that extra foam mounting on the back. So what I'm gonna do, it doesn't really matter which way, there's no right way up or down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it so that the foam is on the bottom and the stamp set is lying straight up, okay? And what we're going to use to color it is we're going to use these, foam brayers is what they're called. So these are also in the annual catalog on page 147. They're right here. This is number 19. So they're sponge brayers. They're $8. They come with 2 of these plastic handles and 4 of these little foam rollers. And the rollers, they're really easy to put on. All you have to do is there's like a little plastic tube in the middle. you insert it over one of the little teeth, and then you kind of just pull it up just a little bit, and you can insert that into the hole on the other part, and then it just rolls. So they're really easy to clean. I actually just cleaned these after using them yesterday when I was playing around for the video, and all you have to do is roll them under, or like kind of squeeze them under warm water, and then I set them on a dish towel to dry overnight. It takes about 24 hours to really get them thoroughly dried. I actually had to put these under a hair dryer because they were still a little bit damp right before doing this video, but give them a good 24 hours and they'll be dry for you. They will leave a little bit of staining, especially with the red and the purple inks. I don't know what's in those inks, but they stain everything. So, all right, so what we're gonna do for this one, for this card, we're gonna use Flirty Flamingo, Highland Heather, and Coastal Cabana. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna turn it sideways, and I am going to start with Flirty Flamingo on this side. Now, when you're inking these up, you want to put even pressure on your ink pad and roll it in one direction. You don't want to go back and forth. To get even ink application on your sponge, you want to just roll it in one direction, either backwards or forwards, okay? But when you actually put it on the stamp, you can go backwards and forwards. It doesn't matter to get a good ink application. So I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, making sure it's getting really good and inked up. So there's the Flirty Flamingo. And you can kind of see it get a little bit darker on the stamp set, and that's how you know that it is applying. So I'm going to do my other color on the bottom next. So that is going to be Coastal Cabana. And again, I'm just rolling it in one direction, getting it inked up really well. And then I'm going to roll the color directly on the stamp set. And I'll just keep re-inking and rolling as I need to. Okay, so that looks like it's good. And then to keep the ink colors separate, I'm actually gonna take this off and take another sponge roller and apply it on here, and we're gonna use this one for the Highland Heather in the middle. Now you could probably do them all right, like you could do them right next to each other, but I just like this method because to me it just ensures that, you know, I have the edges done and then the middle can kind of overlap as it needs to connect everything. So ink it up really well. And then this will kind of blend the outside colors together a little bit too. Okay, so now we've got it inked up. Now, what we're gonna do is we are gonna take this panel, we're gonna lay it directly on the stamp set, and try not to move it, and then I have a scrap piece of paper that I'm gonna put over the top of it, and I'm just gonna rub all over this piece of paper. And to me, this is the easiest way with background stamps to get them to ink up your paper. You can use a Stamparatus. In fact, I've taught that at my Stamparatus class before. But I actually, when I watched that Jennifer McGuire video when she was doing background stamps, this is how she did it. And I thought, oh, that's so much easier than using the Stamparatus. And I really liked it. So, moment of truth, we're gonna take our piece off. We're gonna lift from the corner, lifting straight up, and voila. We've got a nice light ink covering. Now, my edges didn't quite get all the way to the end. I probably should have rubbed a little bit more, but that's okay. It gives it kind of a subtle look anyway, and I kind of like it that way. So now, when you ink it up, you can ink directly onto the stamp. I want to show you some examples that I did yesterday before we finish this card. So this one, I was trying to use daubers, and there's too many colors too, so it was just really tedious. I tried to use like a masking technique with this. I didn't really like how that turned out. And this one was okay. I think I used the brayers for this too, but it was just too many colors. I was trying to do like 5 different colors. So from what I found, 3 colors really is the best. So All right, so to make the card, what we're gonna do next is I have some of the, is it written on here? Yes, the polka dot tulle ribbon. Mine's actually almost out. I've used it a lot. It just really made a nice finishing touch for this card. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap it around my base here, and I am going to snip off some and try to tie a ribbon. You could leave this off if you want to, but I just thought it was a really nice finishing touch. It kind of adds a little bit of femininity and glam to it. So now this is something I got from fellow pal Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie. She uses these reverse tweezers whenever she ties a bow, and you just tie the initial tie piece there, and then use the reverse tweezers to hold that little tie portion in place while you make the bow of the loops on your bow rather. And then that way you can kind of tighten it without it slipping all over the place. And then you just release it, and now you have your bow. And I can trim my little end here once I get it all situated. But I just thought that was a great idea, because it's always hard to tie a bow without, you know, you need a buddy's finger or something. So when I saw her use those tweezers, I immediately went online and got some. I'll try to leave a link to them in my blog post if you're interested in getting them. So, all right, so now I've got my little bow here. And then I'm just gonna put some seal on the back. You just make sure that your adhesive is rolled up, just to even pressure front to back and lift. I don't really have a problem with this seal. Sometimes I have to make sure to roll it up, but other than that, I don't really have an issue. I know a lot of people aren't really crazy about it, but I think it works pretty well. So, all right, so we're just gonna apply that to our card base here. Now for our sentiment, I have, where did it go? Oh, here it is. So I have a stitched rectangle from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and this one is, if you go from the biggest to the smallest, it's 1, 2, it's the third biggest down. So 1, 2, 3, and that's the one that I cut out. Okay, so normally I would stamp and then die cut, but for this video I die cut first, and then I'm using the You Are My Sunshine from the Ridiculously Awesome Cling stamp set. I love that stamp set. It's just a fun and bright, like vibrant stamp set. So I have So Saffron here, and I'm going to ink up the You Are My Sunshine sentiment, and I'm going to attempt to get this right in the middle here. I'm gonna do my best. Even pressure straight down. Oh, not bad. All right, and then all we have to do to finish it off is add a few dimensionals and pop it up, and we're done with this one. And then I will show you the other one that is so neat. These are both really cool. Like I said, I like trying to find different ways to use the tools that we have. So I really wanted to come up with a couple different ways to show you how to use background stamps. I know they can be kind of overwhelming if you're not sure what to do with them, but sometimes you see them and go, that looks really cool, what can I do with it? So this was a way for me to kind of step out of my comfort zone, and hopefully I'll push you to step out of your comfort zone. And there we have it. There's the first one with the dry brush. Isn't that so fun? My husband said it actually looks like driftwood or beechwood, and I think it does. It looks kind of like a beachy scene, but this is kind of a fun way to, you know, give somebody some spring sunshine and send that to them. So I really like that one. All right, so there's the first one. So now let's do this beautiful one with that Wild Rose cling stamp set. I kind of thought that this looked like kind of like a beach shirt, like a luau shirt. So I'm pairing it with the sentiment from the Timeless Tropical stamp set. and I used a little bit of the braided linen trim and that timeless or tailored tag punch, excuse me. This is actually low inventory. I just checked this tailored tag punch, so if you don't have one and you want to order it, I would suggest doing so soon before it goes on back order. So, all right, but let me show you how to do this real quick. This is really, really neat. I'm really excited about this one. Jennifer McGuire, I don't know where this girl comes up with this stuff, but she always has really cool techniques, and I get a lot of inspiration from her. So, okay, so I'm taking the back side of my panel. So like I said, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So what we're gonna do is we're going to make a big cross with a pencil on the back here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure at the 2-inch mark on the top and the bottom on the 4-inch side. So the 2 inches is right in the middle, right? So we're doing right in the center here, 2 inches. And then we'll draw our line to connect here, okay? Oh, that doesn't seem very, okay, maybe that's not quite 2 inches, but move it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just want about in the center. And that's, okay, let's start over. That's a mess. All right, let me try this again. All right, so 2 inches here. And get it a little bit closer. It's a little bit hard to do because I have the phone right in front of my face videotaping too. So I normally like to get right on top of things. It makes it a little bit easier when I can see it from the top down, and I'm kind of working at an angle right now. So, all right, so that's good. So now on the 5 1/4 inch side, we need to measure at 2 5/8 right here. And that's about in the center. So 2 5/8 right there. Okay. And this is, so we have our grid pattern, right? So now what we're gonna do is we are going to take our Wild Roses background stamp. Now, in the video that I watched, Jennifer, she had like a background stamp that had a bunch of diagonal stripes on it, so she just used the same corner. But for this one, I am going to use all 4 of the corners because you're gonna get different patterns in each corner. So what we're gonna do first, it doesn't matter which color you use. For this one, I'm using a lot of the same colors as the last card. We're gonna be using the Coastal Cabana right here, and we're gonna use the Highland Heather, and we're gonna use the Flirty Flamingo. And then for this card, we're gonna add in one more color, and instead of using So Saffron, I wanted something a little bit brighter, so I'm bringing in Daffodil Delight for this one, okay? So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna ink up, I'm gonna start with Flirty Flamingo, and I'm gonna ink up just this top right corner right here, okay? I'm gonna ink it up right on the stamp set, and then you just need the corner. You don't need to do the whole thing. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, this bottom corner here. So what you're doing is you are, oops, let me make sure you can see it. You're using this pencil line and lining it up with the edge of the stamp. Now, not the edge of the complete stamp, but the edge of where the design, the raised up design portion is. That's where we're lining up that edge. So you want to take your pencil line and as best you can line it up with that raised edge of the stamp pattern and put it straight down. Don't move it around. Don't wiggle it to get it in place. Once you have it on that stamp pad, do not move it or that pattern is going to be all wonky and funky looking. And try your best to hold it in place when you rub all over that paper. And then again, we're going to lift straight up. And there we have it. There's one corner. So now I'm just taking a baby wipe real quick. I don't usually like to use baby wipes on stamps because I feel like the fibers kind of get caught in it, but for this, I'm just using it. I try not to wipe, I try to dab, and I have a microfiber cloth to dry it off. So now we're gonna use this next corner. I'm gonna do Daffodil Delight, and we're gonna do the top left-hand corner now, okay? And just ink it up really good, okay? And now we're going to use this corner here on the bottom. Again, using that pencil mark, you want it to line up along the edge where the raised up portion of that stamp is, okay? So I'm going to, best I can, put that down, don't move it, take my paper, press it, and just rub, rub, rub to get that ink to stick to your paper. Okay, now we'll lift it straight up. And now you have that design. Now, if they don't line up perfectly, it's not a big deal because we're gonna put that sentiment in the middle and it's gonna kind of cover up any imperfections that may have, because it's really hard to try to line it up perfectly, but you're gonna get you're gonna get the pattern that we're looking for. But if it's a little off like mine is, like you can tell this one's a little, like there's a little bit of a gap in the middle, it's not a big deal. Like I said, we're gonna put that sentiment in the center there and it's gonna kind of cover it up and you won't really be able to tell. Okay, so the bottom right, I'm gonna use Highland Heather. Really get that inked up well. And then we're gonna use this corner we're gonna use these edges and line it up. And then press it down, don't move it. Put that scrap paper over it and just rub, 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 rub. Get all the edges. You can kind of feel the paper underneath the scrap paper. Lift it up. Ta-da! Cute. Alrighty. And we have one more corner. I'm gonna do this bottom corner here with Coastal Cabana. And again, now we're using that last little corner that we haven't used yet. And rub on here. And there we have it. It's so neat. Now again, it's not perfect. That's okay. Don't freak out. I know my mother, I love you to death, Mom, but I know she would be going nuts because not everything is lined up, but that's okay. It's not going to be perfect. Life is not perfect. Cards are not perfect. That's okay. And it's homemade. It's from your heart. That's what matters, right? Okay. So now we have this gorgeous background. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take another card base here. And we're going to, again, this is 5.5 by 8.5 of the basic white. And where did my bone folder go? I always lose everything. Here's another one. Okay. I'm going to just burnish. And we are going to stick our card base down right here, right in the center. I just kind of kept it simple and clean for this demonstration. I didn't use any other crazy colors. You definitely could. You could use a bunch of different tones in the same color. That would be really pretty. And then you could add, Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, you don't even need to erase this pencil mark. You can, but nobody can see it through the card, so I'm not even erasing it. I'm just going to leave it right on there. But yeah, you could use a bunch of the same tones or the same color in different tones, and then use a background color, like one of those tones as your cardstock for your card base too. That would be really pretty. So like a bunch of greens, and then maybe like gray apple green as your cardstock base or something. Okay, so now we are going to take a scrap piece of, I had it here, well, I'll just use this card piece that I messed up on. Okay, so we are taking the May Your Birthday Be Memorable from the Timeless Tropical Cling stamp set. And for this one, all I'm doing is I am stamping in Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Oh, actually I might need, I don't think that's enough space for my punch. Punch a little bit up, there we go. And then just gonna use, this is the tailored tag punch, and we're just gonna slide it down. I like to do it upside down so I can see exactly where my, and that's not even far enough down. I'll make it work. So I like to see exactly where my sentiment is when I punch it and make sure it's centered, and then punch. So I always do it upside down so I can see where it's coming from, or where it's gonna be rather. So see, this is gonna be right in the middle, and it's gonna kind of cover up those imperfections. And we're gonna have some trim. Where did that linen trim go? Here we go. So this is the braided linen trim. It's 3/16 of an inch. So what we're gonna do to make our little loops on the back, I'm actually gonna put some Stampin' Seal on the back side here to hold the trim in place. And to make it, we're gonna make a loop, right? It's gonna look like that. And then I'm gonna make another loop to kind of look like a figure 8. Let's see if you can see that. And that's really all we're doing. And then we're just kind of putting that over. So it's almost like you're making a bow without tying a bow, if that makes sense. And then you're just putting the trim over it. So I got about the size I need, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut and then kind of play around with it, and I'm just gonna put it right on the sticky part on the back side there. So I like to do, let's see here. We're gonna make a little loop, kind of like a figure 8 here. We could even do it backwards like this, because I had it coming out two different, like one on the top and one on the bottom like that. So you could do it that way. So let me show you. So to do that, we did a loop, and then keeping the trim in the same, or letting it kind of go, it kind of curls underneath, and that's how you have your loop top and bottom, and you have the trim going in different directions there. And then I'm just going to take this and we're gonna stick it right on the back there like that. See, that's pretty fun. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm going to take 2 dimensionals on the back side, pop that up, and line it up in the middle, and then I will trim this extra piece there, maybe a little bit there, and there you have it. A fun, neat background for a card. Isn't that cool? All right, guys. Well, I hope that you have really enjoyed this video and that you've learned a couple different ways to use background stamps. Don't let them intimidate you. There's really a lot of cool things you can do with background stamps. Now, of course, you could just stamp one color and you could cut a strip of it and use it as an accent. You could just, do tone on tone, like stamping Highland Heather ink on Highland Heather cardstock. You could do that as well. There's lots of different ways you can use background stamps, but I hope these 2 ways that I've demonstrated today have helped you out and given you some inspiration, and I hope you go in your craft room and play around and give them a shot yourself. Don't forget, I will have another way to use a background stamp on Monday during my Facebook Live at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to head over to Stamp Camp with Jen on Facebook, follow and like, and make sure that you sign up to receive notifications so you don't miss me when I go live. You'll always be able to watch the replay though as well. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Hit that like button and hit the bell so you never miss a video. I love having you guys here, and feel free to let me know what you think about these in the comment section on the bottom of my YouTube video. Don't forget, Tuesday, March 9th is the last day to sign up for my Hey Birthday Chick class kit to go. You get credit for my class punch card. After 11 classes, you get the 12th one for free. And everyone that participates is entered into a mystery prize drawing that I will announce on March 10th. I announce who the winner is and what the mystery prize is. There's always great prizes, so I hope that you'll participate. If you're interested in that, just send me an email at stampcampwithjen@gmail.com. All the details for the class are on my blog at www.stampcampwithjen.com. All right, guys. Well, if you need any supplies for these projects, please also purchase them in my online store. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're having a great weekend. Have a lot of great weekend plans, and stay safe. And I hope to see you on Monday during my Facebook Live. All right. Be safe. Have a great weekend, and happy stamping. Bye.